beautiful football. Super Bowl 54. I'm so excited.
Can't wait. Can't wait. You got the jacket on already?
The beautiful jacket on.
I'm ready to go. Let's just get down there.
Let's go.
We're leaving today, right?
Let's do it. Yes, we are.
I say this with respect to Minneapolis and
Yes.
Houston
Bingo
and Atlanta.
board.
Fantastic Super Bowl cities. Great infrastructure. Miami's a little different. There's a little bit of a buzz for us and certainly for the viewers. It's a party city. Let's go.
Last time the 49ers won a Super Bowl, it was in Miami. And I'm told that both the Kansas City fans and the 49ers fans have started to trickle in, and you're seeing a lot of red in the streets now. By the time we get there tomorrow and Friday, this should be a huge showing for both fan bases.
It's going to be a celebrity just haven. Like, it's going to be famous people everywhere, I bet.
I think Miami?
Yeah, I would think 10 to 1 famous to non-famous.
You think?
This is the one to go. Plus, the game is really good. I mean, it's really intriguing, and we've talked about this before. The Patriots thing is great, but there's a lot of, they've been here before. These are two fresh teams, fresh faces. If I was a celebrity, I'd go.
Yeah, when you think about the markets across the country, it's Miami and L.A., maybe New York, but it's a little chilly this time of year. This is the court side of Super Bowl locations. So, like, people want to come and they want to be seen, so the events are going to be through the roof. But just more specifically to us in this show, you know, what I love about working in New York is there's so much diversity and so much culture and food everywhere you turn. And that's what we love. I think we're going to get that same type of feeling in Miami with a little bit more of a Latino flavor.
We'll see some of that flavor. MJ Acosta is joining us a little later on in the show, but here's
I don't
Andy.
have any injuries for you, and we look forward to the challenge of playing the 49ers. We start our Wednesday practice today. It's very similar to what we do in season, and get ourselves ready to play against a good football team. Time's yours.
Yeah, Andy, Brad Childers, I was talking to Brad Childers, and he told me that there was a North Dakota State play that caught your guys' eyes when you were looking at tape of Carson Wentz. I was curious, do you remember taking that play and using it, and is that an example of how you've added to your arsenal over the years?
No, absolutely. We borrow from. If it's good, we're gonna sneak it from you and put our own spin on it and then claim it. Right? That's how coaches do. But yeah, no, we snuck a couple things from Carson's offense there.
Hey, Andy, to your left, near the front. Tom Melvin has been with you for a very long time. I'm wondering what that association has meant to you and why it has been so long-standing.
Yeah, well, Tom played for me at San Francisco State, and he's been with me at different stops. When I was an assistant coach coming up, he was doing the same thing. And so when I became a head coach, I had an opportunity to hire him, and that's what I did. Loyal, good coach, good friend. So.
Andy, over here to your left. Okay. Many of the people close to you, coaches, players, and friends, have always described you as this vivacious character, personable, humorous, and yet you've long been known for not revealing very much about yourself to the public. What were your motivations behind that when you originally started being a public figure, and why have you continued to be that way for the most part?
Yeah, so when I'm standing here, you guys have a job to do, and you don't need a comedian up here giving you stuff, and so I try to at least give you something that you can work with as a story and do your job. And then some of you guys that know me away from it, I mean, I'll let my personality show from there, but other than that, doing this, I try to keep it as professional as possible for you. Where's Vahe? All right.
Andy, good morning. The other night you mentioned that you have plays named after Hank Stram, and without asking you to give away the store, I wonder if you could give an example of what one of those might sound like, and also what are your thoughts about a 65 toss power trap?
Yeah, that was a good play for Hank. We're not running it right now, but that was his go-to. But we meet in the Hank Stram auditorium or meeting room back at the facility. Obviously, his legacy lives there, which is great. I mean, we have a tremendous amount of history there. with the Chiefs, and so we do have a play that is a Hank play, and I can't tell you what it is, but we use it. Whether we call it at the line of scrimmage or we call it in the huddle, we use that term.
Andy, what is it that you may have learned from the other Super Bowl you were in to the approach this week for this Super Bowl?
Yeah, it's Howard. It's the fact that you've been here and you've done it. I think you have that. If there's anything comfortable about it, is that you've been there. You know what to expect coming down here. You can kind of relay that to your team. You have an idea how you want to practice. You want to think, if you haven't been here, you want to think that you can get a ton done down here, practice-wise and meeting-wise, but you have other obligations. So you better get it done back at your home facility, and then you can kind of sharpen it up once you get here. Did I change anything since we got done, or from the first time? Yeah, there are a couple little things, just not huge, but there are a couple little things. Yeah.
Andy, back here.
Okay.
How did the way the season ended last year shape your off season, and was that any different than another year when you're not in the playoffs or the season doesn't end such a heartbreaker?
Yeah, well, I mean, we came up short last year. None of us. It kind of fell on D, but it wasn't D at all. It was all of us were 4 inches short, and everybody took that responsibility to heart. We could have all done a better job, and I talked to the team about it after the game. When we were still whole as a team before we went into the off season. And so I think the guys went out and attacked the offseason. They had a taste of getting to the championship game and losing it, and that's not a very good feeling. But there's something they could do about it, and that was get busy and have a great offseason, a great training camp, and then try to maintain your focus throughout the season. So I think the guys have done that. I'm proud of them for taking that approach.
Andy, you've got such a tremendous taste in quarterbacks. What is it that you look for in terms of not just Patrick Mahomes, but even your Eagles history? What are you looking for when you're trying to identify a quarterback that you believe can be upper echelon?
Yeah, I mean, in its simplest form, that they can play the game, number one. Number two, that they're a leader of men or of people. And in our case, because the guys are playing, that they can lead those guys and make everybody around them better. And the great ones do that with your whole organization. They make everybody a little bit better. So you try to find out what kind of leadership ability the player has before you bring them in, and if they have those qualities.
Andy, what went into your thinking a few years ago in terms of targeting Sammy Watkins in free agency, and what has he brought to the offense last few seasons?
Yeah, so I'm a big Sammy fan. I thought coming out, there weren't a lot of receivers that I had seen play better than him at the college level. He went to Buffalo. He sustained some injuries, in particular a couple to his feet, which is tough on a receiver. And so when we got him here, I felt like if we could just keep him healthy and maintain that, kind of rehab him and get him back, both mentally and physically that way. That's a tough thing when you're first round pick and you get hurt. I mean, unfortunately, you get labeled. And so he's fought through that and really done a heck of a job for us. And I know he didn't make the Pro Bowl, but he's Pro Bowl caliber player, all pro caliber player. He's a big part of what we do.
Andy, there's a limit to what you can control in the draft. How concerned were you guys that somebody might see what you saw in Mahomes and take him? And how would things have been different for the Chiefs if that had happened, if Mahomes had gone in the top three?
Yeah, because of the media attention that gets put on the draft and around that time, what people talk, and we had a pretty good idea who was interested and who wasn't, and so Dorsey was in charge of the draft at that time, and he maneuvered up to get him. And knowing who was out there and who the threats were. Well, we wouldn't have Pat. I mean, that's and he's pretty good. Now we were fortunate that we had Alex there, and so we were comfortable with Alex too.
Coach Reid, good morning.
Good morning.
My question is about Eric Bieniemy's situation. How ready is he becoming an NFL coach at this particular time? What are the strengths and what are the areas that, in your view, he need to improve? Thank you.
Yeah. So, you're welcome. Eric Bieniemy is a head coach. I'm Eric Bieniemy's biggest fan. I think he'd be a great head coach, and I thought he was going to have an opportunity this year. It didn't work out for him. But when I talk about leaders of men, you're not going to find a finer one than Eric Bieniemy. So he knows all the buttons to push. He's got a great offensive mind. He's my offensive coordinator, and he organizes everything. And he's the one that's calling the plays into the quarterback and does. He's got a great. I think he's phenomenal. I really don't think he needs to work on anything to become a head football coach. I think he's ready to go, and he just needs that opportunity to get in and go.
Andy, hey, good morning. Federico Olvera from Mexico City, from Deport 13, from Radio 13. Andy, how will you, talking about the clock time, how will manage it since San Francisco 49ers drives is longer and you guys tend to score quickly? And in order to win, what do you have to do to get the Vince Lombardi Trophy the next Sunday?
Yeah, so we really haven't scored quickly, like you're saying here, the last couple games. So we would like to do better in that area. If it doesn't, this team's not going to panic. We're going to do what we have to do to win the game from whatever situation we're in, whether we're ahead or behind. We loved our opportunity to go play in Mexico City. I thought that was a great bonding time for our players. The people there were phenomenal and treated us like gold there. So, yeah.
Coach, you guys work so hard as a staff, and sometimes
Andy Reid there live at the podium in Miami with another chance to win a Super Bowl, Shrakes.
Yeah, he's waited 24 years to get another shot at hoisting that Lombardi. As we know, he tried to win one with the Eagles as a head coach, but he has won one with Brett Favre as a tight ends coach in Green Bay. And he's out there every single day. They're going to do media leading up to it, and he's going to be asked the same questions, but he was great there.
It's the questions from all over the world and all over the map, right? You've got questions from Mexico. You've got questions about Sammy Watkins, about Eric Bieniemy, about the history of the game. That'll all be going on all week right here, your headquarters for your Super Bowl 54. We'll have Patrick Mahomes at the podium up next as well. We'll bring you that. And I'm going to give you the story of the trailblazing woman you need to know. You probably already know. Quite a superstar. Super Bowl commercial. Tell you maybe a couple things you don't know about Katie Sowers coming up next. And we'll go live to Miami where Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs will take the podium.